With me right now is 2016 Libertarian Vice Presidential candidate Bill Weld. Governor, good to see you.
Neil, always a pleasure.
I guess there's no chance you can be invited to this VP debate, right?
I don't think we're getting in then. We're going to keep plodding away and hope to get to 15% and get in debate 2 or 3 at the presidential level.
All right. I talked to your running mate, Gary Johnson, yesterday, and he was making the point, it's a pity because Ross Perot, when he was invited to the first debate, he was polling in the high single digits, as are you folks. And he was invited. Now, later on, he soared in the polls and ended up being the best independent candidate we saw of the century. But it doesn't look like you guys are going to get that chance.
You know, I spend less time thinking about percentages than I do about messaging. And the thing that sticks in my mind is that we do have an offering that neither of the other parties does. And that's we're going to be way fiscally conservative and responsible, as we were in our states. And nobody can say that isn't true. And we're going to be socially inclusive. And the Democrats are not sounding very fiscally responsible these days, and Republicans are certainly not sounding very socially inclusive and welcoming. And, you know, we think that we speak for a majority of the people in the United States.
So you are more fiscally conservative, socially, on some of these other issues. I don't know, liberal is the term, but...
Welcoming.
Welcoming. All right. But you're not going to get that chance unless your poll numbers go up. Typically, after debate, you're not invited to. Independent candidates' numbers drop even further. Are you afraid of that?
Well, as I say, not my department. I did see a CNN poll this morning that said that Mrs. Clinton won the debate. Would it make you more likely to vote for this candidate? Mrs. Clinton, yes, 32%. Donald Trump, 18%. Neither candidate, 47%. So if that holds, that's a pretty big, what they call in the business world, an addressable market.
All right. Now, if it's not addressable by appearing at a debate, do you guys increase your ad buys?
Yeah. Yeah. We keep raising money. We're raising a lot of money through web fundraising, and not as much as the big guys, but, you know, you can, most of our push is in social media. We're reaching about 50 million people there. The spike on searches for Gary Johnson went through the roof last night as people were seeing, you know, the manifestation of the two-party candidates there.
He seemed to be acting out his own debate online, as if he were there.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought Mr. Trump was shaking his head way too much, sniffing way too much. I don't know if that's antihistamines, what it is, but he was the one who sounded like, you know, he had something going on in his head, not Mrs. Clinton. I thought she was on her game. She never took off her game face, and she never stopped smiling. That's very important. And I was just listening to what she was saying in North Carolina about kindness and civility. 3 cheers for that. It's part of.
It doesn't always apply to her opponent.
Well,
nor her opponent.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it applies to the two-party system as practiced in Washington. That's part of my beef these days. Is the two parties seem to want to kill each other, just like the two campaigns seem to want to kill each other. And Gary and I don't want to kill anybody. We just want people to listen to what we have to say.
But, you know, part of what you want to say appeals to an audience that might remember your famous, I always call them modern-day Lincoln-Douglas debates, and you and then Senator Kerry. But what is the appetite for that today?
Lincoln-Douglas style means we just asked each other questions and swung away. And I think there you really take the mettle of the candidate. So I think that would be preferable than having a single moderator control the flow, because then you really see the candidates. It was a bare-knuckle brawl, although, you know, John Kerry and I kept it within bounds, and I think it was very informative.
Now, I got the impression when you two, you didn't hate each other.
No, not
you weren't trying to embarrass each other.
No.
You didn't question his service. He didn't question, you know, your background or your policy.
We were both at 75% in the polls, so we had no reason to attack.
But it's interesting. I mean, we live in an age now where negative attacks, they do help you, but it's fleeting, right?
No, I think that's right. I mean, sometimes you're surprised. I thought the Swift Boat Veterans for Truth attack on Senator Kerry in the 2004 campaign was going to go nowhere. I mean, the guy is legitimately a war hero. He turned his PT boat around and rammed the shore and jumped out and killed that guy single-handed. You can't get around that. But it wound up having an effect on
Did your people tell you at the time, make a big deal of that?
No. They would have known.
You wouldn't have done it anyway.
No. They knew that.
But he didn't go over the jugular with you, and you rift that you had with some Republicans.
I'm not sure either of us had a jugular at that point.
But now it's a prerequisite.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, the two campaigns seem to want to kill each other. That's not good for, you know, that's good for heat. It's not good for light. And I think if you did put the libertarian ideas, you know, some restraint on military intervention, immediately filing a balanced budget, those are ideas that are unknown in Washington right now because of the partisan, poisonous atmosphere, and they'd be good for the Capitol.
You got to get the chance to say it before a lot of people. All right, Governor Weld, thank you very much, the Libertarian Vice Presidential candidate.